right. Welcome to a special episode of Procrastination Podcast. We back at Alonzo's house again, invading this man's privacy. But he's very gracious, and we have a special guest, as you can tell, with us here today. But, as usual, welcome into Procrastination Podcast. We talk about anime life and everything in between. I'm Matt.
I'm Robert.
I'm Alonzo.
I'm Jay.
And this guy is the other dude on the logo. In case y'all were wondering. So, how we start this usually, how y'all been procrastinating? It's been a good trip so far.
Yeah.
What you doing?
It's all been procrastinating right now.
Yeah, so I got so much.
First thing you said when I got here is like, Robert, your grass is not cut. I'm like, all right.
It ain't.
Why you gotta call me out, okay? I want to take a vacation. I want to go to Alonzo's place where his grass is nice. I want to sleep on his couch and not have to worry about my life.
And your grass look like you ain't worried about your life.
Yeah. I ain't worrying about it.
You're right.
See, for me, being down here, it's actually like not procrastinating. I'm actually here. I've been saying for a long time, I need to come see these guys. I'm actually doing it. So
We'll
it's
take
great.
that. We'll take that. What you Alonzo?
Y'all made me clean. I had to get up, cut the grass, clean the floors, clean the bathroom.
I'm
I'm
glad
lazy.
you cleaned the bathroom, but
Yeah.
everything else I would have been like, okay, I can't live with this.
Facts, right?
Man, I had to go upstairs for once. And,
Vacant upstairs inhabited by the ghost keeper, the ghost roommate. Anyway, yeah. And I obviously have a lot I need to be doing, and I'm here anyway. I need to be studying for my exam, and I'm trying to do that in between. But balance, man, it's all about balance in life, and that's what we're going to try and do today. And sometimes you just need a little bit of inspiration, and sometimes it's in the way of anime, And sometimes there's characters that just, inspire or relate to us more than others. And that's what today is all about. Characters in anime that we relate to and really, really love. So for me, it kind of intersects, with each other. So I have two characters. And they're kind of my favorites, and they're also very relatable to me anyway. But, I don't know. How y'all feel about today's topic? You excited for this one?
I feel like this is going to be a redemption on our other topic about anime where the audio was fucked. So
I'm so sorry.
Hopefully now we bring that topic back to life where we're talking about, some of my, like you said, my favorite.
I may be excited. I may not look it. I'm very tired right now, but I hope this goes well. I got some great characters for you.
And I think when it was first proposed, we were all like, "Oh, that's pretty easy." But as we actually sat down and started thinking, we're like, "Man, it's kind of harder than remember." So yeah, but I think I come up with a couple of good characters.
You came up with your thesis, right?
Yeah, I used to call it thesis.
I mean, you got detail. I'm just
Page
swinging
and a
it.
half of notes.
I
That's just who I am.
mean, I can't hate on you being prepared. 'Cause I'm probably underprepared, but I'm gonna always do my best for the podcast, man. It's the kind of guy I am. But yeah, I agree. Definitely harder than I thought. And I think because we're watching anime, we're just enjoying it as a whole, and it's like, oh, okay, this is good. And then occasionally like, oh, you think, oh, that's a good character, it's a cool character, But it's like, I feel like you don't always feel like relatable, especially with how dramatic, some of the anime are, like, and how over the top some of the action is and stuff like that. Like, yeah, it's so far reaching from anything we can really be related to that it's like it's kind of hard to relate to some characters. I never pieced that together until we were thinking about this topic, and I was like, yeah, that's actually a good point. A lot of my favorite anime, I don't actually relate to any of these characters. but I don't know who wants to go ahead and start with I guess their favorite one first. I think I'm going to start with.
Okay. I can start. I put up some of my favorites. I had some honorable mentions that I wanted to talk about a little bit, but only talk about a couple of them. One, Koro Sensei from Assassination Classroom. Because I mean, I got it on right now. Got dude's face on right now, and I mean, emotional anime, very good, and he makes you love him, right?
He does.
So then it's like, when you know, he's really good. Now, also want to talk about something recently. My boy Prince Boji from Ranking of Kings, another super emotional anime where this guy, he starts from the bottom, the gutter, and ends up coming into his own. So pretty good, very good there. Mighty Kamina.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Gotta love Kamina.
Yeah, like
What is it?
he is the only one that made me keep watching Gurren Lagann.
Yeah.
I was like, if he wasn't there, I mean, if it was all Simone, and even if he got his his drill powers, I'm like, I don't know, man.
Quick sidebar. Also, spoiler alert. That's definitely the most impactful anime death of my early watching anime career.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was expecting him to come back at some point in the name of the entire time until the last episode. I was gonna come back. He gonna come out of the stars and be
Right.
back on it somehow.
And to me, it was like episode 8 or something, right?
Mm-hmm. It's
It
kind
was
of
just like crazy. I was like,
Yeah.
this can't be real.
Right?
This is the end of the anime. I was like, this has to be the end of it, right? But yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was good. It's good though. Yeah, good choice. I like that.
I also want to talk about Hina, from the day I became a god. Now, and this one's just, I want more people to watch this anime because it was so good and it's so sad, and like the main character, she is just a super helpful person. I mean, it's similar to a lot of like anime characters, but I think in this one in particular, she was like, it was almost like she knew she was gonna die, and it was just like building these relationships and like helping people with the whole thing. It's kind of like similar like Angel Beats a little bit, but it's like a little bit more to me. So I was like, I want to add that. And then Alexander the Great, who is Ryder in Fate Zero.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god. And like, I don't know who told me to watch that, but like, oh my god, Ryder was that dude, man. I was rooting for him from the beginning.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know. And then how he goes out, it's just crazy. He's
So you have a conqueror's heart in you?
yeah. And but the one that I chose was one that I thought least likely for people to pick, and somebody that I thought was a true underdog, and I chose Violet Evergarden. So
Your favorite?
my favorite, I want to put as like one of my favorite characters of all time. Yes, Violet Evergarden, and because one, she was born a war dog, so like she can fight like no other person can fight on the battlefield. War, she was just killing everybody. Like, and then she ends up, I mean, spoiler alert, but she ends up losing both her fucking arms. And she ends up getting like robot arms, whatever. And then she has to deal with like doing that and figuring out like what her life is going to be after war and stuff. So the show is really good. It's really impactful. It's like showing her like resilience kind of thing. So it's you really feel for her, but you really also feel like all these characters that she interacts with. It's really good, really good. And yeah, I mean, she's one, also hot, so add to that. Hey, like
had to
I was like, okay, you gotta add another reason for her to be great, But anyways, that was my one that I picked for like
Interesting.
top. Also, I just want more people to pick it, more people to watch this show. Violet Evergarden. It's on Netflix. It's super easy to watch. Just watch it.
Okay. I mean, I can't knock it. I ain't watched it yet. Because I don't know why you like sad stuff anymore. I'm like, I turn on.
It's actually not
Yeah.
as bad. It's
It ain't
not.
sad?
It's not
Didn't
super
sound
sad.
as sad.
She lost both her arms.
But
But the whole thing is about her
Life.
come up.
yes,
The whole
yes.
show is about
Okay.
her come up.
Reestablishing purpose.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what it
Oh,
sounds
sounds deep.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know either. Again, man. you
Good.
know,
It's good. It has romance overlays. It has, a bunch of mini story overlays. So it's similar to Kino's Journey a little bit, where he was on the road and just meeting all these random people and like going through all these side stories,
Yeah.
and that's how I felt too. Violet Evergarden. Very good.
Okay.
Well, that directly leads into a character I have. I wouldn't. None of these I would consider to be my favorite. I was really leaning more into the relatable.
Relatable,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So I broke that down as meaning what traits
Mm.
that we share, but also which themes associated with the character, relates to your personal life and all world.
Mm.
So you said something about purpose, and I think you talk about purpose. For me, Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop.
Mm.
I think he is a relatable character. First of all, he's like very like chill. I think I would describe myself as being like pretty not too high, not too low most of the time.
That's fair. Fair.
But also it's this and we were talking about this earlier actually, this perpetual tiredness he suffers from.
Right.
And that's something that as an adult, I'm like, man, adulting is difficult because I'm tired all the time.
The facts.
And so
The facts.
and it's like Spike goes through that as well. It's like spoilers if you haven't seen it, at the very end of the series, it's you have to carry that weight. That's like one of the final things, and it's seeing, of course, the weight of his past, but the weight of just living, I think. And so I think for me, that makes him very relatable.
Mm.
And lastly, it's this Spike is like hunted by his past.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's very stagnant. He can't move forward. He has no purpose. And even in the anime, we're never actually told his past, like his history. It's not known. And so that's like relatable because for me at least, it's because it's like one of my bigger fears. Not growing, being in one place. And so so that's just one of my characters in this fight.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
That's a good one. This man got so deep. I'm about to
Right?
snap after that. I like that. That's good. I feel that. I definitely feel that. Like, I mean, definitely, one of the reasons I grind so hard is like, I'm like, yeah, you ain't gonna catch me slipping. You catch me slipping, you gonna be me.
It's
Like,
called the can't go back attitude. Right?
yeah. I ain't going. It's facts. It's in my head. I'm like, no. It won't be me. It might be this guy. It'll go be me though. Like, yeah. So I feel that. Like, yeah, and definitely. I mean, adulting is. And I want to make an episode about this. I'm not going to go too far on this, but being an adult is not what is advertised.
Yeah, right.
What?
It's funny because as kids, all we want to do is be as adults. But now as adult, I would just love to go back and be.
It's
Like,
so much.
think about it. Like as a kid, I didn't have to cook.
Nope.
My homework took like an hour to complete. Like, I didn't have to make doctor appointments or any of that stuff. It was all taken care of. You were taken care of. And I mean, I don't want to sound like too negative, but it's because there are great things about making your own choices and things like that, owning your own things. I think ultimately that will outweigh
Yeah, in the long run.
in the long run.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
The grind to that point.
Yeah.
is trash.
Yeah.
It's terrible. I'm sorry though. The grind to that point is like the worst experience. Like, you know, and I think all of us are making good progress towards, which I'm like, that is like honestly the thing that's like, and I'm gets happy. Makes me so happy about like this group in general that everyone is succeeding. Like everyone is succeeding. Like that's so like the best thing about it. And like, you know, we're all making steps. Some are a little faster, some are a little slower, you know, but everyone's making steps towards like their ideal life, you know, whatever that is. And then it's like, that is the point. Like that is the best part. Like none of us can say we are in the same place we were when we last met, right? No one can say that. We've all moved forward, right? And that's the best part about it. You know, that's the best part of like friend groups. Is like even if it's indirect motivation, but then it's also having like a clear vision. Okay, we know these people are like-minded people. We know we have similar experiences in a lot of aspects. So I know I can get there because we all have shown that we can get there, sort of thing. And I think that's indirectly helped me, you know. So I'm not sure if it indirectly helps like other people in our group, but like I know like that's always been something that's like, yeah, this is. I think that's like with these characters, like the relatable nature of it is what helps you sometimes draw more from those characters than you would otherwise. It's like because I feel this somewhat of a connection, I know that this is something that can be of use to me as far as like motivation or like emotional support or it's like just anything to kind of get you through a tough time with like feeling like you have some sort of connection. It's like it's just nice to have in general. I think what everyone looks for anyway in life. Why we want to be in relationships so bad and stuff. And sometimes you can get it from an anime character. Yeah, you know, it's good.
Yeah, I noticed there was definitely recently where it's like motivation is my problem, right? It's like I can't find why, you know, the purpose and you know that, but also I feel like finding that is also in some, you know, semblance of the purpose, right?
Yeah.
Part
But-
of the whole thing.
Right. And one thing that I also, you know, not to bring it back to the negative point, but like to me it feels like you're supplementing, you know, your issues with like oh well that's normal, so just do this, right? So like, oh, I'm tired every day, like what do you do? And they're like, oh, you just drink coffee.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm like, but don't you get that? Like,
Yeah.
that's the problem,
Yeah.
right? It's like
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
tired every day, right? Same with like, you know, like allergies and stuff like that. It's just like, you know, I'm having bad allergy problems. Like, what should I do? Well, you should just take allergy medicine for the rest of your life. You know, it's like, but isn't
Can I
that
get rid
the
of
yeah?
the
It's like,
allergy?
that's
The
solving my
epidemic.
problem, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel that super hard where it's like, you know, being an adult, all they tell you to do is to just, you know, like, oh, that is normal. Every
Right,
issue you
right.
have, they
You'll be alright.
that's
Yeah.
normal.
Basically,
No
you'll be
worries.
alright.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
I gotta get my leg cut off tomorrow. They're like, yeah. That's
Please forget
Tuesday. I'll see you on Friday. You know, like, all right, you know, but yeah.
To that point, I am on so many medications right now, and I'm just so scared. Like, when do I get off these?
Yeah.
Because I know there's like withdrawal with them, and I'm just like, I have to take these for the rest of my life just to feel normal,
Yeah.
just to get through the day.
Yeah.
I don't know how anybody can deal with that. So
Right.
it's one part of being an adult I don't like.
Right.
So
Yeah.
We clearly we need to have a separate topic.
Yeah, right.
I told you I wanted to do this topic,
God.
and I wasn't sure. Clearly it's gonna go very smoothly. You know? So we got plenty to say. Good.
And this is what I was talking about. Like, I could get like a little deeper with it, but I didn't want to get like too personal. Yeah.
I mean, it's all right, man.
We all feeling it.
Yeah.
We're feeling it, and I mean, you know, again, you know, hopefully this, maybe somebody sees this and they get that same connection, same
Yeah.
inspiration, motivation. We get through it, y'all get through it. But
Rob, you're
it's worth it.
absolutely right. As I've gotten older, I realized because this is the idea, especially if you grow up religious or something, that we all have a purpose.
Mhm.
I think it's more like your purpose is to find
Find-
purpose.
yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it changes, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it
that's the
changes.
other thing. It's like, it's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I mean, I knew exactly getting up in the morning. I knew exactly why I was doing anything, right? It's like, oh, you know, I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this for, you know, whatever. Yeah. And then it gets to a point where it's just like, nope, you're an adult now, so now why?
You figure out
Yeah.
your
Like,
why. You figure out your why. Yeah.
You know, to make more money. I mean, that ends up being
Yeah.
a lot of
And
people's
it's like, you
motivation.
don't care enough
Yeah.
about money.
Yeah.
It's like,
Any
look, we gotta get back on topic, man. Look, y'all gonna
anime character concept.
Yes. So, you all know of my love of the anime Mob Psycho 100.
I do.
Oh, yes.
That's
It is
classic
such a
one.
great show. 3 seasons of excellence.
It is actually.
You got character growth, you got drama, action, slice of life, topics, whatever you want. This show has it, and you know it touches on like loving yourself, like dealing with yourself, facing others, just growing naturally and dealing with the growth of dealing with life essentially and your emotions and how to handle all that. And one of the characters that I love from the show, his name is Reagan. Call him Reagan-san. And he's the mentor for Mob, the psychic in the show who was self-conscious about his powers and his emotions and how to control it and everything about that. And so he comes upon Reagan, and Reagan was just this guy who was probably going to take advantage of him. He's just like, oh yeah, you got powers, sure, whatever. And Mob shows him he actually has powers, and Reagan was like, oh, this kid's the real deal. Maybe I should take him under my wing. And then the show just expands from there. Reagan takes him under his wing. They go on adventures together with their psychic shop and everything like that. Go on taking on adventures against ghosts and ghouls and other things like that. But Reagan, he is such a great character to me because he is so relatable. You know, he's actually a regular guy. He has no powers whatsoever, but he passes off to Mob that he does have powers. His powers are just too great to show, unless or else it'll be catastrophe if he uses them.
Yeah.
So he's the epitome of fake it till you make it.
True.
And man, I have used that mantra
Yeah.
every day of my life.
He's not lying.
I'm not lying.
You're the
We've
only
known each
one.
other for more like 10 years now,
Yeah.
and he always says that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making it to
Yep.
But, I mean,
He doing all right. I mean,
Right?
yeah.
I ain't faking good enough.
Yeah. But a lot of that is on a deeper level. What's it called? Like
Father, son.
Yeah, that's what it really is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So,
I've got a
but,
bit of
yeah.
that for sure. I don't know. Yeah, I think most people got a bit of that.
Yeah.
You know, I think part of that comes with. I think a part of imposter syndrome is a bit of humility too. It's like super overconfident people tend to overestimate their abilities and their importance. And I think people that have humility tend to undervalue that, and so it kind of passes into sometimes go a little bit further into imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And like I think all of us feel that to an extent, especially because I feel like we're all relatively humble about the things we've done. And I think we've all done great things, objectively great things, and like everyone here is a graduate degree holder, which in and of itself is amazing thing for a lot of us being first gen to even do that. And that is huge. So again, it's relatable because again, even in the process of doing it, getting to these points, I for sure felt like a fake. I was like, I'm the freak I got here. I gotta keep studying because they gonna kick me out next week. Like they gonna catch my dumb ass. Like, so I definitely feel that.
Yeah.
I read or heard a while ago that God is humble, but he's not modest.
Mm.
And then he was saying like modesty is the underestimating of what you can do. Humility is like if you're not humble, that means that you believe you're the only person that can do it. And those are two different things. Like I know what I can do, right? But I'm not arrogant to like I'm the only one that can do this. And so I think that's the distinction here. Like Alonzo, you're humble, but you're a smart dude, Alonzo. Like,
I'm saying. I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying.
You have to know you're a smart dude.
I fell upwards. Exactly
That's
like
all right.
Reagan.
Hey, fair enough, man.
I think also like to say that all you've done is just I got here and all I did was grind, right? That's the only reason. Is because I put in the hard labor effort. Would be alive for most people, right? It's like part of it is also the luck with it. Part of it is also your circumstance. Part of it is your environment, right? Where you have no control, and that's what it hits me. Is where I'm just like, yeah, I did great on the thing. I did the thing that I was supposed to do, but like part of me feels like the only reason I got there was because the people around me were also in that same like vein, right? Like everyone around me was trying to come up too. Yeah. So they were pushing me up. So
we were in the program.
Right.
Program, right.
And we were all going to the same thing.
Right.
Trying to get to the same.
You ain't failing, Jake. You don't be like, you ain't running away from me. Leave me here myself,
Jake. By choice did I study for my math test? No. Did I study for my math test because everyone else was in that?
That's what I mean.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Right. So that's what I'm like. Where it ends up being like, where I feel the imposter syndrome. It's just like everyone else helped me there, though. Right.
Yeah, facts.
So,
there were times in the study rooms in the computer labs of our dorm, Matt would go in, and I would live, and we're two different majors. I would just go in. And we'll just study. He studied doing his own thing, and I'm doing my own completely different thing. It's just being in that presence, like that's what I needed. Yeah. You study and I'm studying.
Looking at Matt, and that's also was the benefit of like having him as a roommate was like. He's always on that grind. So then it kind of puts you like, am I doing enough? I'm not doing enough. Right? Like, all right, I need to be doing more.
Hey, ghost fuck chasing me. Yeah. I was like, you niggas are not pulling me out of this program, and I need this scholarship. This bitch. I'm getting out. I told you, I'm getting out. I'm not going back, man. I was like, I got out. I ain't going back, man. So, I mean, the motivation was there, but yeah, definitely, you guys literally, everyone here tutored me at a point. Undergrad, some longer than others. And I mean, I bothered some people. I bothered the freak out of them. So, for sure, team effort getting through. Because, I tell you right now, dude, I was dying. I was dying, dude. I could not figure stuff out on my own. And, again, sometimes it just takes a little extra push. And that's it. Even, Reagan, he goes to another level. Because of the people around him.
Yeah, I got one last one on Reagan. It's about burnout. Because his past was that he was a salary man. He worked an office job. And like he just got fed up with it. And he was like, you know what? I'm going to just walk out, start my own business, see what happens. And funny enough, he meets Mob. He goes on adventures. He grows himself, learns about himself, learns that it's not okay to like use other people. You should be upfront with them, be friends with them. So he went on that journey, and I relate to that totally. Like I try to be a nice person, but I'm also burnt out at different jobs. So I'm like, all right, should I go out and do my own thing? Like I don't know if I should say this. I'm in the process of looking for another job right now. I don't know. My boss gonna see this.
Add that out.
I'm gonna have to keep a secret. But yeah, I just totally relate to Reagan. So.
Yeah. And that's a good point too, because there's a book series that I love. The Expanse is popular. And one of the biggest relatable life lessons I actually learned from this, it's simple, but they put it in such a way that it just blew my mind. And it was like, you always have the power and the right to walk away. Does that make sense? Like, in the case of the book, they were talking about from an abusive relationship, but you can, especially like we're America, like we have that privilege. Like you could always just simply walk away. So yeah, I can relate to that as well.
Yeah, I think in his case too, it's like it's almost like it ends up making you into a better person doing it. Not only is it you're using that power to freedom to walk away, but he literally the character growth by the end of the series, not gonna spoil it, y'all watch it, go ahead. But the character growth by the end of the series is remarkable. It really is. Like, because a lot of shows, they don't focus on multiple characters. But for that show, especially Mob and him, the character growth is ridiculous, you know. And like you said, that's one of the very few anime 3 seasons of pure greatness. Like honestly, it's very good every season. It does not happen, you know, in anything, in any series, like television, live action, whatever, anime, anything, you know. And yeah, that's the big reason. It's like, yeah, the dude really shows like, yeah, he took a leap of faith, and because really he got fed up with anything like you said, but you know, ends up not only did he get, I guess, I mean, maybe it's probably more lucrative, I guess, by the end of it, but really he just became a way better person, you know, and you know, I assume probably enjoys his life a lot more. You know, and obviously has done a lot more things he probably never would have imagined he got into. Like I couldn't figure. But yeah. And I mean, I don't know. For me, my character, you know, is in a world also very different from ours. But you know, I think this guy though, his traits that I just relate to so much. And it's Rock Lee, man. Y'all know I love Rock Lee. That is my boy, man.
Yes,
That is my boy, dude.
I was gonna add him to my honorable mentions, but
I
I was
mean,
like, I think he's
know,
on the list. I'm so
Rock
funny.
Lee, oh my gosh, like this guy, Rock Lee, like from the moment I saw this dude when I was like middle school. First of all, the Rock Lee fight, one of the greatest fights in history. Period. Rock Lee Gaara fight, fantastic. And honorable mention for Gaara, because his character development in Naruto is
insane.
Maybe top,
Yeah,
some of the top character development in anime history. It's phenomenal, you know. But Rock Lee, man, he just does so many things that it's like he pushes his limits. He pushes past any excuses. He pushes past natural limitations. He literally gives himself no reason to not succeed, you know? Like, and it's one of those cases of anime where like I would shed tears sometimes because it's so inspirational for a dude to push past. So to be a guy like me, and I know this is again maybe part of the imposter, but I feel like I didn't have talent when it came to like school stuff, and like I'm in the medical field now. I didn't feel like I had talent for that. I was like, so all this is just work, and I was literally surrounded by a person for the majority of my own time in undergrad that is pure talent. Like he is talent. He is Sasuke. He is Sasuke, and I was Rock Lee. Like, and I felt that every day. While I'm grinding, this man is like, I'm gonna just do a little something, like throw some shuriken, and I'm gonna go home and still beat your ass. You know, it's like, and that was how it was, you know. And man, like Rock Lee for me, like one of his quotes, and I wrote this one down, and it's redemption of the quote. But he wrote down, I want to show I can be a splendid ninja as well, even if I don't have ninjutsu or genjutsu. I want to prove it to the whole world, right? Like, and that prove to the whole world part almost reminded me of Muhammad Ali, right? His famous quotes. But again, like, it's one of those things of like, he had this assurance, self-confidence, for one, and purely self-confidence, because no one believed in this man outside of one person, literally one person. And it shows the effect that one person can have in your life. One good person in your life can really make all the difference. And he really goes into it, and he takes that and he just runs with it, right? He takes everything he can that this person is willing to teach him. And he takes his one, like, well, not even talent, but the one thing he can even do decently, decently, and turns it into an advantage. Like, which is by itself is so inspirational for me. Every time I watched it, it was like man, like I can grind a little bit, I can grind a little bit harder, I can push a little bit harder, I can go a little bit further, I can stay a little longer. You know, like seeing that in the anime character was just like bottled up like motivation every time I watched this dude and saw this dude. And side note, Shippuden kind of made me upset with how much I feel like they bottlenecked him into being a much less interesting character than he was in the original Naruto.
Yeah.
And not have much character growth. They did a lot of characters.
Yes, they did showcase
a lot of characters. They could have done a lot better job with, but I digress. But especially the original Naruto, like that for sure, like all of his scenes, and obviously like I just love that he got his moment to shine where his hard work was recognized. Like, and again, the fact he still lost that fight is almost more important than if he had won, because it still shows like his hard work does not get negated just because you don't get the exact exact thing you were looking for, right? And that, for me, again, is like something I took away from that because in my journey, things did not go how I thought it would go. Because like, I'm dropping all the grind. And like, all right, you still effed up. You still failed this, or you still messed with this. You still messed up on this. I'm like, well, what the freak? I'm grinding though. I'm grinding hard as freak, harder than everyone else I see. And it's like, nope, it don't matter. Sometimes it's still not going to work out the way you want, but that don't mean you stop. And that's what that showed me for sure. Like as an early kid, I'm like, okay, you're gonna grind. That don't mean you're gonna get there when you want to get there. But it does mean that if you keep grinding, you can get in and around that. You can get close to achieving that goal, and you at least get close enough to where you can have opportunity if you get that luck. It's still gonna be some luck. You get that luck. You get that one shot, you'll be close enough to grab it. You'll be prepared enough to grab it. And that's what it's about. That if you get the one chance that you're 100% ready for, and luckily for me, I got that chance. And I was able to grab it. But those kind of characters are the ones that help you, help me to like push and know that, okay, I gotta be ready. I gotta have that right mindset to be like, all right, even if it don't work out, if it don't look like it's gonna work out, you still just gotta keep going because eventually you just gotta be ready just in case you get the opportunity. And when I made that opportunity to showcase it, he put in work. And even if he didn't give him the result he wanted, he still put everybody else on notice. Don't play because your boy Rock Lee is coming for fights. So I love it. Love him as a character.
Man, if you, I think the only reason they didn't showcase him as much is because if you keep expanding, Rock Lee and my guy, like, you get to someone who's almost undefeatable. Right. You know what I mean? Like, they just end up getting more and more OP. Like, even Guy fucking punching the leaf at the end or whatever. Like, the super strong thing, it's just like, really? Like, of all things, so I don't know. I think that's one of the reasons why they didn't showcase him as much. But yeah, I agree. Rock Lee, definitely, probably, if not my favorite character, probably top 2. In Naruto, 100%. Like, so good.
He is definitely my favorite character in Naruto. I definitely will play him in the Naruto Storm games we used to play in the dorm.
Yeah. Gate. Starting off Gate.
He was a fun character to play with.
Yeah. And it loves, I like because like it's realistic because like none of us is doing. They good up me. I ain't got no shadow clothes. No matter how many times I throw up, no matter my weed come out clearly there. No matter how many times ain't no ninjutsu coming out. He got straight hands. That's it. He trained the freak out the hands, and that's all we can really do. If we was in that situation, we just be training hands too. So I'm like, yeah, this dude's relatable. But yeah. Lots of Rock Lee, man. But y'all got other characters? I got some other characters, right?
I got one more.
Okay. Who want to start? Go ahead.
All right.
Got one more.
Well, Matt, you'll be familiar with this character. Recently, you watched this show from My Love Story, Ori Monogatari.
Yes.
My boy Takeo Goda.
Yes.
The big dude. Like, of course, I'm a big dude myself. I'm a nice guy. But I just do not see the signs. Boy, Takeo couldn't see them either.
He was blind.
Yeah. We're blind brothers in arms, but I just relate to him being so nice, being so caring to other people. You gotta have that caring, nice nature in order to get through this life. You can't be a terrible person. Like, you're just not gonna have a good time. Right? Some people are rich and they're terrible people. I'm not gonna go there.
Money might be already
they'll be judged at a later date.
Right.
So, but my boy, yeah, he just does the big time. He has a great group of friends. Well, one friend who just is the homie.
That guy's clutch.
Just clutch and
Man of the year.
Right? He is though. Literally man of the year.
Yeah. But I don't know what more to say. But he's just my guy. We're big dudes. We're similar in like we just can't pick up on signs from women. I just relate to that.
Yeah.
And he's such a good character. The show's funny.
Yeah,
Watch the show.
it's
24
hilarious.
episodes of goodness, sweetness. So
Yeah,
that's all I gotta say about that.
it's so good. I got people that don't watch anime watch it and they still love it. It's that good. It's super good.
My
And-
Monogatari Story is probably my favorite romance comedy.
Mm.
Period.
Ooh,
Wait, oh no.
I'll take.
Oh yeah, but Love is War. Okay, okay.
I mean,
Second
it's up there. It's definitely up there. It's not really like getting destroyed by
Right,
anything.
right.
It's
I hear
definitely
you.
up there no matter what. I mean, it's a hot take, but I was like, okay, I get it. It's definitely up there, and it's good. And I just watched
Don't
it.
back off your hot take, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Stay
mean,
firm.
But
in
no,
it.
I forgot about Love is War.
I can never go more. It's so good. But no, as I'm watching this show, I'm thinking, this is Alonzo. Just Alonzo. This is just him. Every episode I go through, I'm like, Alonzo. This is just him. I'm like,
Making him stuff every day.
Right.
He got a bake treat every day.
she's like, can we meet alone? He's like, you mean with other guy, right? Like, no, alone. Like, what? This guy. Anyway, it was great. It's great. And I thought about that show. But yeah, I mean, I think funny enough about that character is like I feel like part of it is he's had all these crushes though that have crushed him. You know, basically. So that he's had his whole thing is kind of like he's jaded from that. And like it's funny enough because he's a really nice guy, and he ends up getting like he seems to have like a lot of people that tend to count on him, like a lot of acquaintances, and maybe they're not super close, but a lot of people tend to want to count on him, and I think they're pretty reliable dude. I think Alonzo's a pretty reliable person. This dude literally saved me. My laptop was dead in graduate school. This man bought me a new laptop out of the blue. I was dead in the water without that ish, man. I'll tell you right now, clutch. So, ain't never asked for a penny in return. Has never asked for anything in return. Has never even brought it up again. But it's always there for me. But again, anybody believe it, I never forget it. Never will. But again, like those kinds of people, it attracts good people, and sometimes it's not always. And again, the protagonist Takeo, his girlfriend is a fantastic person, fantastic human. I think we can agree in the show, and that's what makes it so great. It's like just two great people, good. Two great people deserve to be together. You know, I hate seeing a great person with a terrible person, and it happens so often. And I'm like, no, don't do that. And this show gives you that. And I think, yeah, it shows. For me, again, I'm a little bit optimistic when it comes to the end. I'm like, yes, okay, good. So at some point, to me, great people will meet each other. Sometimes, and again, he didn't expect it, which is why he was totally blind to it. But you know, it happened, and luckily, he had a friend there to help him kind of guide it together. Again, we won of the year for sure. But yeah, you know, I think I did really enjoy the show a lot more than I thought I would. So I'm glad I watched it. Yeah.
I have two more, but I'll share one that's gonna be, I think, a bit controversial.
Okay.
And we'll see. It's a character from Hunter x Hunter. And which one do you think comes in the controversial Hunter x Hunter?
Right. You ain't gonna say it.
I hope it's not.
It could be a bug dude, is it?
Yeah. Well, I
It could be
know.
Bug King.
No.
I hope it's not the guy with the shining thing.
It's okay.
No, thank you.
No, not Hisoka.
Okay, I was like, it better not.
Yen Flitz, the father.
Jin?
Yes.
He barely
Deadbeat?
Okay.
The deadbeat.
He barely even Okay, I gotta hear this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I like him so much. It's two things I can relate to him. It's first is he's introspective. He's very self-aware that he's a bad dad, right? He says, and I have a quote here. He says, "Hunters are selfish creatures. They're willing to sacrifice anything to get what they want. I guess you really want to meet me." He's talking to his son on tape recording for y'all that don't know. "But I don't want to see you. Honestly, I don't know how I could face you now. After all, I chose going after my own desires over being a parent. I'm a bad person. I'm still me." So it's like he's selfish, right?
Mm.
That's a very selfish thing to do. But selfish, I think it's in natural human nature. We're all selfish, and I think we all have to be selfish to be like just not to be miserable, right?
Right. Yeah.
Someone that just gives and gives and gives, that's just like stress inducing.
Right.
Like if you don't have things for yourself, then that's not good either. So so I don't have like that's part of the reason I don't want to be a parent, right? It's because I don't want that responsibility. Like I just like I mean I just like no, like that's at least in my current state, like where I am right in life. No, like
Right.
Right.
I just want like again to have fun. Like at this point, but like I grew up poor. Like like I didn't go to like a big sports game, games and stuff like that when I was a child. Now I'm in my own, making my own money. Those are the things I want to do now. So
Right.
travel the world a little, see it, right? So, but also it ties in the theme of growing up in a single parent. That don't know my father very well. I'm always interested in a father-son dynamic relationship. Like, what role does a father play in the lives of his children, particularly son? Like, what is the significance of that? Because I didn't have it. So that theme to me, I find him interesting, and I will also follow up. Jim is not a bad dude. Like one of his friends, spoilers again, he was on death row. He saved him from death row. And he said, the guy's name Razor. He was like you call me by my name, of my actual name. It's like the first time anyone's ever called me by my name. And so, and he also like saved the homeless kid, raised him up to be a hunter. So like I could. So I find him so fascinating because everyone goes on Jen. He's a bad dad. He is. But he's more than just like a bad dad. Like, and it's the idea we sort of touched it on earlier. Like, all right, let's say he was there with with Gon, his son, raising him everything, but he was a miserable person. Would that be better? I'm not giving a yes or no to this.
Yeah, something to think about.
Yeah, but it's something to think about. It's like, so I don't know. And lastly, and this is he come from Well Island, small town, and I think from an early age, Gon, his son, shares this too. Even though he might not have been able to properly articulate, but he knew the world had more to offer than what he saw in his immediate surroundings. And I think I've always been inquisitive as a small child. I always knew there was more out there than I was seeing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So in that way, I relate to him as well. So.
Gotcha.
I think like one thing that you kind of alluded to a little bit was that like if growing up in because I also grew up in a single parent household, and you end up thinking like, okay, did I need my father, right? Like,
exactly.
And constantly I'm in the mindset where I'm just like, no. Like I'm like, what more would that have provided to my life? It's like, I mean, I guess maybe financially.
Yeah, exactly.
But then now that we're adults and we're coming up in the same like time frame, we're just like most back then it was like, oh, start a family. You have to start a family, right? Or nothing gets passed on. So start a family. But then you get trapped in this spot where you're like, but I wanted to do more. So then you'd end up having these split families. And I feel exactly the same way. It's like I don't want to have a child and then for what? It's like, all right, have a child, and then, hey, but I don't want this responsibility right now. Yeah. And this is going to be very difficult for both you and me.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And so, and also piggyback, what you were saying, Robert, is I think we both would make great fathers, though. Right? So it's not like we think we would be terrible fathers.
Right.
We'd just be
Right.
terrible people,
Right.
miserable people,
Right.
if it happens.
Mhm.
And I know that sounds sort of like harsh,
Mm.
or it can come out as like
Realistic.
people. I don't know, cause I say this all the time, like at work, cause that always happens all the time. Like, so when you think about starting a family, and I'm like, dude, I'm about to fly up to see some college friends. Like, no, I'm not trying to change white diapers. Like, no, like, so I don't know. It's just, yeah.
Going back to that purpose thing.
Yeah.
I mean, for a lot of people, that's their purpose.
Yeah.
It's
Facts.
like,
Yeah.
Facts.
like, oh, when I had a
You
child,
have
that's
kids.
when I found purpose.
Mhm.
And they want to give that to you, and that's
Yeah.
why they're kind of passionate.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, have a child. That's where my purpose is. And I'm like, I know for
Yeah.
certain that's not my
Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's all right,
And
but that's not what I want.
It's not, and that's not the only way to leave a legacy.
Right,
Right.
right.
And it's
Facts.
also like,
Big facts.
it's also like, yeah, like we're just a speck in time. Like, like no one, even if I pass that,
Right.
like no one's going to remember me. No one's going to remember that child eventually.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, so I mean, your legacy, unless you're like, you know, the greatest
Right.
person in the
Something,
world.
yeah, the greatest
Like
something.
Conan O'Brien said this when his TV show was about to be canceled. I think it was in West Virginia, and he was staring at this tombstone. It was of a former president, and he was staring at it, and he was like, "This is tombstone of a former president of the United States, and no one's here visiting him. Who knows that he's buried here in West Virginia?" And he was like, "He is the president. He
Right.
was a former president of the greatest nation in the world," and he was like, that gave him a sense of relief about his show being like canceled or whatever,
Mm.
because what really matters at that point, like
Right.
in the
Grand-
history of the world. Not saying that what you do, it does matter. It matters to the people around you. It matters, but it don't be so like
Stuck in your head.
yeah, that I don't know. It goes back to humility thing again, right?
Mhm.
Be a little bit humble, right? So
Only reason you're put on this earth is to, you know,
yeah.
continue your DNA.
Yeah, it's like
Right. It's like, really?
like why?
Dang,
Like,
it's calm, man.
like what makes my DNA so special that
Right?
like,
Hair, man. That's
yeah. So,
We gotta get more good beards with these people.
Yeah.
What the freak, letting beards die out, man. Get the freak out of here. What are you doing? You're just
Dying.
failing humanity. That's what you're doing.
let me be clear. I agree. He is a terrible father. I'm not excusing him from that. Like I would never be him if I have a child. That's not what I'm saying. But I don't know. I always found him interesting
Right.
for that fact.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's a good one. It's a
Mhm.
good one. That's a good one. I mean, I certainly would have chosen.
That-
But I
want to
see
go with
your
a
point.
controversial one too.
Yeah, I see your points. I see your points, and I don't feel like I saw enough of him to make this many points about him. But you know what? Again, you did do some in-depth thought on what you were seeing. Again, it kind of goes back to what I was saying. Like when you see certain anime characters and they relate to you, you take more from them.
Mm.
I didn't relate to him like that, so I just never took that much from it. You know, I was like, oh, this guy's kind of a deadbeat. That's it. Bye. Like-
Yeah, but that's the point. Like he comes off as this deadbeat, but then it's like, but he saved a man from death row. Like, and then he saved a child from homelessness.
Yeah.
Like literally,
then my head was
and
like,
it's like,
why you take care of your kid? You take care of this kid anyway.
yeah,
Not-
but
not-
yeah, that's
right?
a natural thing. That's
Yeah,
a natural thing.
I know. Yeah.
But it's also like I said, it's like there's something more complicated there
I
than
agree.
like
I
yeah,
agree.
than like all he uses is a deadbeat man.
I agree.
Mhm.
I'm just, that is just like I said. I took nothing from it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I
got you.
when I
got
have a passive, when I'm passively watching and I'm not actively like thinking about it, I'm like yep,
Mm.
yep.
Yep.
Whatever first in my head, that's what it is.
Mhm.
Like anyway, we'll go get to that. But also, good another thing to add on to the adult topic podcast. We'll add that. We'll get more about that later. But yeah, I mean, you got one more, right?
Yeah. Some honorable mentions again, though. All right. I'll go do it quick, though. One, Yukimura from Science Fell in Love and I Tried to Prove It.
Okay.
Again, I think overanalyzing every little bit is what people do.
That's a good one.
And I was like, I feel like I embody that in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
High Score Girl, main guy in there, he's all about gaming. I mean, that's his life. Games are life, and I feel that also in some aspects. Let me see. How do you even say this name? Oreki from Hayoka.
Oh,
He's the guy that kind of like he's in there. He doesn't want to do anything. Like he's in the like. She comes in and she's like all curious about every aspect of the high school, and he's just kind of sitting there like, all right, well, I mean, I just want to get done with school. I felt that so hard that I was like, yes, okay, move on. But then,
Especially high school.
right?
oh, right. To walk across that thing.
Similar in that aspect, Laid Back Camp. There's a main girl from there where she's like, all she wants to do is go on a campsite and chill. Like, no other reason for living than just being out, chill, and eat.
Chilling, right?
And I felt that too when I was
a lot of
watching
people
her.
like
Right.
that. There's a lot of people that want that lifestyle.
And recovery of MMO junkie, and I felt again similar that you can really get stuck in your ways, and I feel like that was super relatable. Now to get back to your controversial thing, I think I think one thing that you really relate to, right, is let's say there's a woman crawling on you, right, and you just give in. You would give in normal circumstances. Most circumstances, you would give in. So my boy, Peter Grill, from Peter Grill and the Philosopher's Time, I think he's so human. Like the epitome of just, hey, this girl's crawling on your penis. What are you going to do? And he's just like, I'm gonna let her. Every time, every single time, man, without fail, has no self-control. And I feel that 100%.
The post-nut regret.
Yeah.
He has so much. Every episode is thing with post-nut regret.
Every time.
See, you gotta do better, man. What the freak is wrong with me, right? It happens again. He's like, dang it, man. They got me. It's like, it's gonna happen every time.
2-3 in his bed, and he's like,
He's like, no. I'm not gonna do this again. And then he gonna wake up. What the? Shit, man. Did it again. Like, yeah, man, you did again, Peter. I ain't name my child Peter, I'll tell you that.
All that unprotected sex isn't healthy.
my man is
they don't care.
You gotta make a spell for that in the medieval times. Some bitch, what the freak? Oh gosh, I want to say something appropriate. I had the kids, like we said already. Anyway, but yeah, I mean,
Any controversial ones? Like, not really. The only other person I had up here was Askeladd from Vinland Saga. He's the villain.
One of the best.
He's
Best characters.
Best characters.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure he's like relatable. He's just one of my favorite characters.
Mm-hmm.
He's a badass. He kills a whole bunch of people. Commands a huge army of Vikings, which is hella dope. I mean, what more can you say? He cannot be beat. He is steps ahead of his enemies. So
Yeah,
he's just a cool guy.
but he's also a Viking that hates Viking. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that also makes him like a very interesting character. Like he's a product of his time.
Yeah.
And he uses violence because he knows that's the only way to make change. It's through violence, even though he hates it.
I
So-
wish I could think critically like you. I'm at surface level. I just see things that look cool. I'm just like, that's my guy.
Hey, man, that's the spectrums of it. Man. The best part about it is you get both.
yeah,
You
yeah,
get both. You
But
get to do both.
yeah, immediately, he fights Thor's, and Thor's was like cutting down everyone. And from the beginning, he runs and it's like, whoa, like this guy's different. Yeah,
This
So,
guy's
yeah, he's
different
He's
breed.
great. Yeah, he's great. He's great.
Yeah, these guys are different. Man. They really do. The anime in general, some of these protagonists just like, man, you're like, man, these guys are like, you think sometimes it's just people, like I said, I had a Sasuke in my life. You know, there are some people in this world that are just like, they have almost like anime protagonists or like level. We're talking, some people hit the genetic lottery, man. They hit the genetic lottery with intelligence, with looks, with physical, physical features or talents or whatever, man. And it's like you just hit anime protagonist level luck. That is crazy that people get that. That's crazy. And like, some people let that drive their whole persona not getting that, and they're trying to chase it and you're just never gonna get it, which is its own thing and its own issue. But again, like some people just let it just let it be. And they so a lot of the kids you're mentioning just let it be. And like Peter Grill, like I said, a lot of anime protagonists, they're gonna show all this restraint.
Yeah.
And unnatural and unsettling amount of restraint. Sometimes. like okay, guy, hold on. Are you really 16? Because your hormones aren't raging at all. And it's like, okay, and like, but like, yeah, Peter Grill, I mean, as bad as he is, the guy, because he's cheating on his fiance
Yeah.
very frequently.
I don't condone it. So I wasn't saying
Yeah, don't take that. She does very frequently. But again, I mean, the situation he's put in, it's like, it's tough. That's tough. I mean, real tough. I mean, it's one thing to deflect it once, twice, with every day, like constantly. Tough, man. That's tough. The better man than him have fallen. I would say that. Like, but yeah, I mean, I think the only other person I had is probably nothing like Peter Grill, but he is also very, very human. From Love Is War, it is Ishigami, man. I freaking love Ishigami as a character because of who he is in this show. He is a real man's guy. Like he is the average high schooler that is just, we can't get it together quite, like guy. But he somehow falls into this responsibility. He usually falls into the responsibility of being in student council. He gets basically recruited into the student council. Does not want to do it. Just wants to play his games, go chill and whatever. And it's cool because you slowly start to see his character development in the show. And he starts off like I said, he doesn't want to be there. He's just kind of like to himself for the most part. He starts getting more and more involved in the other characters' lives as the show goes on. It's like starting to comment on their relationships. And he's like, oh, he's like, clearly there's something going on with these two, the main two characters that are like, should be dating in two, but they don't, But he's like, okay. He starts to see all this stuff and he starts to comment on it. Sometimes we like even give him like small like half episodes with like just him, right? He's kind of commenting and thinking his own stuff. And then like his dynamic with like the main female protagonist, best friend, Fujiwara. Yeah, Fujiwara. And they're butting up heads. And then he butts heads with also the person in charge of like student morals and stuff is also there. And it's like, and it's funny because like he seems to be like the most regular of the dudes, and he's like the regular dude's example because he butts heads with the moral committee. Because like, I'm a guy. I the high school guy with homeless raging. I'd be thinking immoral stuff, and I'd be liking short skirts, and I'd be liking dirty stuff sometimes. Like, yeah, okay, I'm a regular dude. She's like, no, don't be like that. Like, okay, whatever. And the Fujiwara would be going over the top, and he'd be like, hey, yo, you doing a lot. And she'd be mad at him. And I'm like, yes, but every guy would agree she's doing a lot. And I'm like, yes. I'm like, okay, thank you. This man Ishigami is always the voice of reason in this show. When everyone else is being irrational, he's like at least somewhat reasonable. And it's funny because it's the point, I think it's season 2, where he continuously for multiple episodes is just getting just totally crapped on. But like for trying to be the good guy / what's the reason, and they're making him so bad he just goes home in tears. It's like, I'm going home early, y'all. He's closed the door, just goes home early with his hand on low, and I'm like, yo, I feel that. Like you be trying to be legitimately be a good person, help people out, and then take out their frustrations on you. You're like, okay, fine, forget it. I will go. I'll go. You know, like, and I'm like, yes, Ishigami, you get it. And then by the end of it, he gets his taste of his own love story, which I love. And they don't fully commit to it, you know, in the show, but it kind of, again, shows his character growth because he goes from being someone that is super in the show, right? Then he starts to be more involved with people within the student council. And then he goes a step beyond that, and he goes and becomes involved with the people in charge of the whole like class student fair for like the whole school, right? And he becomes part of the committee, and he's like, and then by the third season, he's like an integral part of the committee, right? So it shows his character growth. He becomes more and more socially active from a dude that's like basically a NEET, you know, to like totally now socially ingrained, like able to bring other people. Like he brings the class morals committee girl into the social chair for like the whole school festival, and like she was like the awkward one, right? Like in his position, you know. And again, it's someone he doesn't necessarily love, you know, doesn't really like her like that, you know. But he's like still, you know, looking to try and be, you know, a positive thing to this girl, right? And to kind of bring her in, make her not feel so alone, make her not feel like she's like isolated, you know. And it's like, it's so cool because he's so human. Like he shows so many sides to him. He's so many dimensions to him. He's not one dimensional at all. And it's like, yeah, like it's something I always try to tell people. Is like people seem to want things to be so black and white all the time. Like, oh, you like or don't like someone. It's like, yeah, sometimes you just don't like certain things with someone, or you just don't. They don't rub you the right way with certain things they do and say. It doesn't mean you have to hate them. You know, you can still be nice to them. You can still treat them well. You can still like try and want the best for them too. You know, you don't have to love them to do that. And like he shows that in the show, and like he also again like he just breaks down his own barriers, and just slowly, you know, and it's over a 3-year period, you know, but it's like slowly you see it kind of break down little by little, and that in itself is also really, really inspiring because it's like, yeah, you know, you don't have to do it all at once. You could make small integral progress, and maybe no one else, you know, maybe people watch the show again. If you're passively watching the show, you don't really pay attention to it. But if you're really looking at it, it's like, oh wow, this guy's literally little by little taking steps every day. And sometimes he's getting shot down for doing these things, you know, and it probably hurts, but he still keeps trying, you know. And that kind of stuff is like in characters is always like add one to me because it's like, yeah, it's hard breaking down your own walls. Like doing it in yourself is the hardest thing to do, making internal changes. And doing that as a high school student, especially I had a similar thing in high school. And doing that as a high school student is super, super difficult in a time where you're under the most feels like influence of all these other things. And to do it then, and to do it like in a positive way was like just super impressive to me. And then like for him to kind of like, I feel like reach his version of probably an ideal version of himself by the end of it was just nice to see. I just liked it. And Ishigami's just great, man. It's great, man. So many good scenes.
I think also he's probably one of the funniest.
He's
hilarious.
He's hilarious.
Cause like he has that aspect where he's like, oh, I'm not gonna say anything, or I'm gonna try to help you. And then as soon as it flips on him, like that's when, you know, if he ever bursts out and he's just like, oh no, fuck that. Like let me flip it back on you. It ends up being so funny. So
it's so good.
So yeah,
so good.
Ishigami, good.
Really good character. I don't watch Love Is War. Love Is War is the #1 romantic comedy of all time, in my opinion, and probably a top 10 to 15 anime. Gotta be for me. So good, man.
100%.
And again, 3 seasons of greatness. Does not happen often. 3 seasons of greatness. It does not happen. 2 doesn't even happen.
That's like,
And it gets
that's
better.
like match like gold standard.
Yeah.
Like, 3 good, awesome seasons.
You are
top
there.
tier.
You're top tier, yeah. I mean, it is impressive, man. And the culmination. So good, man.
Yeah.
And again, Mob 2, the culmination. Fantastic. Because it ended up being, and I'm getting all over the place a little bit, but Mob, it ended up not even being about an outward enemy. You know?
Yeah.
it's a fight against yourself. Yourself is the final boss. It's a crazy deep message to put in this anime. You know. Anyway, it's all so good, man. It's so good. You gotta love it.
All right. My last mention, another Vinland Saga, is Thorfinn. And I won't say the thing I relate mostly, especially in the second season, as he's gotten a lot of character development, is just he's very like conscientious now that he's done all these terrible things. He's like now every action he takes is like, did I do the right thing? Could I have done this better? And that I can relate to, because I mean it's almost to a fault with me. Like I spend some more time. If is this the right thing? Is this the best way to do this? So yeah, I'll just mention that real quick.
Yeah, we were talking about in the car about like how when I'm entering in a conversation, how I have that like mentality, and it sends me in circles where I'm just like, oh well, if I say this, will they react to it this way, and will that be a negative response, or will that be a positive response? And like all I'm trying to do is make the conversation better. So if and that kind of thing is just like
yeah.
you're like constantly thinking about your actions. And I mean, it's good.
Yeah, but
most of the time, like I don't have too many regrets on like things
right.
I've said, things I've done.
Yeah.
But then, to your same thing, you do not take risks. You do not, go above and beyond. So
yeah. And even after the conversation ends, I'll think back and say, "Oh, I should have."
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bad thing.
That's for
Right.
sure
Hindsight.
relatable. No matter what it is. That's good. That's fair. Okay. So that was good. We touched a lot of topics, man.
How long have we been going?
A minute.
Okay.
But we got an extra guy, so we got to get a little extra with some extra time.
Alrighty, everybody. As you can see, it's extra time, and I have on my head an Orioles hat, Baltimore Orioles. Team that has long been terrible for the longest time. They're finally back in relevance this season. So I went, and me and Jay went to the game today. Unfortunately, they lost, but it was still a fun time. So keeping up with baseball news, a while back we talked about Oakland A's announcer who said the N-word when trying to pronounce the Negro League Museum. Well,
Nigger League.
that guy, Glenn, has lost his job. So,
do you think he should have lost his job?
Yeah.
You got to go.
See,
But that's your job.
me, I just found it to be hilarious. Like be mad at the guy.
It is.
But
you gotta go.
In my mind, I just imagine he practiced all the time. Get it right. Don't screw up the words. And he got on national TV and he did it, man. That's how I imagine it went. And so I was just like, oh, poor white man. he could this nigga up a nigga.
His loss is our comedy game. Happy trail to him. Let's see. NHL news. The Florida Panthers of Miami swept the Carolina Hurricanes, so they're going to the Stanley Cup Finals. They booked their ticket. Tonight, the Dallas Stars beat the Vegas Golden Knights. That series score is 3-2 in favor of the Golden Knights. So two more games potentially to decide who goes to the Stanley Cup Finals on the Western side. Let's see, soccer news. I want to talk about Real Madrid star Vinicius Jr. Last week he was subject to harsh racism in a Liga match against Valencia in Spain. Apparently racism is a big problem in Spain. This was not the first time it's happened. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Tell me more.
Apparently according to some article, this was like the 10th complaint Real Madrid has lodged about racism. But this is the first time that the league is actually doing something about it. You know, the guy, he's been subjected to like monkey chants and all that.
Yep.
He had a effigy of him hung from a bridge with his jersey on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not good stuff going on in
So
Spain.
what you're telling me is that the ancestors that colonized the Philippines are racist? I would have never like
Right.
What?
what in their history? I would have never predicted that.
Excellent.
But you know, I want to move on from that. Lighten up the mood. Basketball news. So Denver swept the Lakers and LeBron. Nuggets will now go to the NBA Finals for the first time. Surprisingly enough, Boston actually got an upset against Miami tonight. Derek White hit a buzzer beater
Wow.
to send the series to Game 7
Wow.
when the Boston Celtics were down 3-0 in the series.
Wow.
So they have a chance to become the first team in NBA history to come back from a 3-0 deficit and head on to the NBA Finals
Like gonna win it.
for a chance at the championship.
Momentum is destroyed.
But I have a silly discussion for you guys. First off, I want to ask, taco, you know what a taco is? Quick backstory. I was in San Diego for an internship. I was staying with this nice white family, and the wife came up to me innocently enough, asked me, she said, taco, you know what a taco is? That's exactly how she said it. And I'll never forget it to this day. But, you know, let's see. The trademark for Taco Tuesday is owned by a chain called Taco John's. I've never heard of them. They're based in Wyoming.
Mm.
And so Taco Tuesday trademark has become, you know, popularized by LeBron James. He tried to put in a trademark request a few years back. Didn't go through because of Taco John's. Now Taco Bell and LeBron are teamed up for an ad campaign to remove the trademark. So, first of all, I want to know, what's your go-to protein in the taco? And second of all, what do you think of this? Do you think it'll work? Do you think they'll get the trademark removed and all that?
Oh. So, but I'll answer. My go-to protein when I make them is typically ground turkey because I season the crap. It turned out real good. I put about everything you can do to that. Put onions in that jar, put tomatoes in that jar, peppers in that jar. Season to good God in heaven. Season that jar. Chipotle's in that jar. Season to death. So good. But when I order them, I mean, I don't know, probably. No, what's my favorite? Probably chorizo. Chorizo or pastor. Chorizo or pastor, probably. Definitely my go-to. But do I think they'll win? Probably. They have more money than them. I mean, that's what we're gonna. They have more money, more notoriety.
Yeah. That's
Just
what it
them
comes
that.
down.
That's what's gonna come down. They're gonna.
Yeah.
Protein.
Either chicken or barbacoa.
It's good.
That was a recent one where I was like, yeah.
I mean,
meat.
me, we had it yesterday. I just want slow cook, bone in short rib. That's my favorite. Yeah. So.
Fair enough.
And yeah, they'll win. They'll win. I mean, I don't want to get like take this super because it's just Taco Tuesday.
Yeah.
But it is something a bit like uncomfortable about this big franchise coming in, teaming up with another
Bodying
person,
them, man.
and like, nope, we're gonna take this.
Give me that.
It is something a bit like uncomfortable about
Right,
that.
right.
But I don't want to get deep because we're talking about Taco Tuesday. We're not talking about
Taco John's.
Yeah, yeah.
Your name already is probably trademarked.
Yeah.
like just again, Taco John's in Wyoming.
I mean, if they pay them out, they pay her for it, then
Right.
You get a couple
you get
mil.
money, so
You get a couple mil.
yeah. So,
I'll take a couple mil to find something to trademark just in case it gets
Mm-hmm.
popular down the line, so I can retire early.
especially be a bit silly for them to hold this on because it's in Wyoming,
Right.
You know,
You're not gonna expand.
unless they're like a 10-year plan,
Right.
Like, we're going nationwide.
Right? It's like, dude, come on, whoever's going there is gonna be the same people going there.
So,
So I'm not familiar. What is the LeBron Taco Tuesday thing? What is that? What?
See, he goes on social media, talks about making tacos on Tuesday.
This has
and
been
it
his thing
just-
for years.
It's
Taco Tuesday.
But,
Yeah.
but he wants to trademark that.
Yeah.
Well, he wanted to,
Mm.
but I think now it's just about having no one trademark it.
Yeah.
Oh,
So they're trying to liberate Taco
Mm.
Tuesday.
right.
Yeah.
Which they should. Maybe.
Are they trying to liberate it, or are they just being petty? To be
That's
honest?
it. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
if I can't have it, you can have
yeah,
it.
it seems more like petty. To be honest, I mean, does LeBron care that much? Probably not.
Yeah.
It seems like they want
But-
they want to make a corporate thing, right?
Yeah.
They want to use
Yeah.
that for
Yeah.
something to sell.
Yeah.
Yeah, of
They
course.
can't do that.
Yeah.
No, they can't.
Exactly.
And
That's
I
what I'm
think,
saying.
yeah,
So they're
if-
liberating it.
if
so
they're
anyone
liberating
can
it
use
so that they can make money from it,
Yeah.
it's done.
Yes,
Right.
That's what they.
But if they're saying like, I mean, this guy owns the words Taco and Tuesday, and that's
Yeah.
kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
I also
Yeah.
agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're surely gonna make money off it. Like, everyone can use it, but not. I mean, what am I gonna? If I go and yell Taco Tuesday, I look stupid. You yell it, then you're LeBron James. So that's a totally
You
different
can't
thing.
go with like Tuesday tacos.
There's I remember hearing something about like there's tater tots are a specific company name. Tater tots. So then so then people have been using other names for them. It's so that you don't
Trademark.
go against their trademark, right?
Just it tots.
Right. Or like
I like
you
the
know,
tots by itself anyway. So it's just rolls.
hash browns or whatever they call them, like stuff like that. I'm like, that's
Hash
weird, right? That like
Good point.
I don't know. It's like, especially after you end up making something the standard thing, like
right.
Kleenex, right? It's like you made that the
Yeah,
standard thing.
yeah,
So now,
yeah.
if I'm going for
Everyone
Kleenex,
calls
I
it,
it's like
Right.
Yeah.
you ruined this. So now it's a fully
Yeah.
own thing.
Yeah, I mean, as long as I get tacos.
I don't care. I will be there on Tuesday.
Right?
Okay.
Exactly. I mean, shoot. But, it's not a Tuesday, but we are very thankful that you guys joined us here once again. Thanks for spending some time with us. Thanks for procrastinating with us. We went long, but now we out.